The site was a problem because it's on a swamp, you know, and you know that if the train came through, pictures would fall off walls and houses.
On the new hospital.
The new hospital.
Yeah.
So we needed a super architect.
Yeah.
Well, we had a small committee, only 4 of us, Sister Superior, a couple of board members, myself, and we went to about 5 architectural offices, none of which I liked, you know. And so finally we ended up in Edmonton, and I walked into this office, and there was an atrium in the center, and you know, balconies around, plants in there. And when I walked into this office of this guy, he had a very beautiful sculpture sitting there. And I said, that's the architect we hire. You know, because we need somebody with more than just boxes, you know. Well, and so Bernie Wood was the architect, immediately realizing that we had to have a floating foundation, so nothing would vibrate.
You can't go underneath the...
It had to be totally floating, the entire hospital. Therefore, it was more expensive. And when it was all finished, well, first of all, when the pre-tender estimates ended up being only half of what this was going to cost, Dave Russell phoned me and he said, I was in the bathroom, are you building a Taj Mahal out there? And I said, no, just a hospital. So I explained to him, and he was an architect, you know. So, in fact, he was
a minister, you said, right?
He was a minister of health, yeah. He was very helpful and managed to get all the money together, and then we built this thing. But it was interesting that everybody questioned whether this floating foundation really would function. And Betsy Hall Finlay, doing her plastics, did her first operation in there and came out and said, you know what? There was no vibration whatsoever. So we were very happy. So the place is running, it's doing well, you know. And
that's
so
good.
So I was on this board for 15 years, you know. Went through all kinds of problems, all kinds of good situations, but it functioned and it came out very well. The other thing was, I desperately wanted a sculpture in this hospital. And the sisters usually gave the board, for whatever the board wanted to do with it, $25,000 a year. So I said to Sister LeBlanc, why don't you give me the $25,000? He said, well, what do you want to do with it? And I said, well, it's a secret. Just trust me. Okay. So she gave me $25,000. And I went to Alberta Arts Foundation. I got double, so I had $50,000. And then put out a contract for a sculpture for the hospital. And it's in there. When you walk in on the right-hand side, there are 2 panels, great big, beautiful copper, you know, or brass, whatever, panels, basically a gate into the emergency.
Oh, that's great.
So I had my sculpture in there too, so I was very happy. Yeah. So that was the hospital business.